I'm John Turner. I've been around for a while. I was at Brandeis University for 17 years. I don't need this microphone, much like GT, but hopefully I don't blast you out of the water. I was with, as I said, Brandeis and Aruba. So today I'm going to talk about IoT and hardware hacking. The previous presentation you saw talked about the the Wi-Fi chip, which is the Esp8266 chip. It's a cool little board. So, this isn't my job. I just like to do things, and I think as professionals, it's really good for us to go out and just sort of explore and learn new things, right? It's a lot of fun to, if you don't know about packets, learn about packets. I knew a lot about packets, but I didn't know a lot about hardware. I thought it'd be fun to sort of explore that. So I got started basically in Arduino. Everybody's probably heard of these cool little boards. I'd wanted to play with them. I had a really lousy kit that I ordered from the internet. It taught me about circuits, and I just didn't really have a project. I think a lot of times when you do things, you need a project, right? You gotta have something fun to play with. So I like digital things. I often tell people I'm not a fan of technology. I think technology is bad, right? Everybody goes, you're in the wrong business. Well, my answer is actually, I just don't like the way technology is going today, and we tend to take our phones, and I've got 3 kids, and we all focus on that device. I think technology is cool when it interacts with the real world, and Arduino actually gave me that opportunity. So the first thing I did, and this is what everybody does, is they build a wind speed indicator. How cool. So the one that I have, and actually it is that one, it's a Cape wind indicator. This thing is like ancient. I remember my grandfather had one. This thing gives an analog signal out. And actually sort of cool because it's a little spinning cup on the roof, and if you watch the voltage, it goes up and down, woo! And if you graph that to sound, it goes woo, 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 much like gravity waves, if you've heard about those. So I wanted something to read that, and I always wanted to know, because like you're sitting in your office, or like last night my wife was saying, holy crap, the roof was about to fly off. The wind was so crazy. I live in the Northeast. And I want that always. I always want to go, what was that last gust? Well, nothing I had could tell me the last gust, so I built this little Arduino thing. The other thing that's cool, as I said, I have 3 kids. It was an awesome project to teach myself soldering. I asked my wife for a real soldering station for Christmas, which she got me because I love her. And now I got a chance to teach my kids not to burn their fingers with a soldering iron. It's also a chance to teach them how to code in C. Cool thing in Arduino is actually this thing called the Arduino Ide. It's an integrated development environment. It's a way to code. They don't tell you it's C, but it's actually C. It helps you verify the code. It compiles it for you, and it, even cooler, burns it onto a board. A lot of things we talk about, like we don't have hard drives, we have flash, right? And if you know Nintendo, you used to actually could steal ROMs, right, and flash those. So the Ide actually flashes that onto the Arduino or Arduino compatible. When I was growing up, this is what I played with as a kid. I don't know if any of you had this. 150 projects in one. I think I did one, which was the burglar alarm that eventually pissed everybody off in my family, and I think my brother smashed my kit. Today, thanks to a really, really cool community, there are a ton of things to play with. You're looking at a 3-axis gyro. This is the one that was in and continues into a lot of the smartphone devices. Pressure and temperature sensor. This is a full barometric pressure thing. The bottom one there is a GPS breakout. This is literally the size of a postage stamp. And you can integrate this into any project you want. That last one is a 2G data board, right? That is also the size of a stamp. Talk about hiding these things with magnets in your car to see where, or actually people have projects where they sew them in their kids' backpacks. That particular board already has a battery on board, USB charger, the whole thing. It's ready to go in a neat little package. Arduino is really about everything sort of being open, IoT, clouds, right? And that's sort of where I got, hey, we're merging here, right? My like for learning things about electronics and Wi-Fi, because, we're all Wi-Fi geeks. Talk about boards and building boards. You can actually go take your breadboard, which is how you put all your components together, load it into a piece of software called Fritzing, do an integrated board design, so like a cool little, sort of that whole idea of like, you want the electronic badge. They'll help you put it together and in fact even go and manufacture in small quantities. This has never been possible before, right? Literally, it's back to those springs and things like that. So we're in a really cool age. So enter the Esp8266 V1. This came out about 3 years ago from a company called Espressif in China, and it was expressly written, expressive, that's kind of funny. It was written for the IoT market space. It is about $1.25. I bought 3 of these. Uh-oh. Anyway. I bought 3, yeah, I just dumped my names in there. I bought about 3 of these for maybe $2 from a US supplier. You can buy them a lot cheaper. They do everything you wanted to do. They're programmable. Literally, these things are apply power and go. You don't need anything else. I've got an example right here, 2 of them, in fact. One which is a really nice board, and the other is sort of a little bit harder to integrate. So these guys actually came out with a dizzying array of these different things, all the way up to the board that you see on the left side. The ones on your left side, sorry, are the little bit harder to integrate. You need a little bit more, not much, but a little bit. And the one on your right-hand side, you actually can just plug in and go. How do you learn about these things? YouTube. A 9-year-old showed me how to set it up. How do you buy them? Go to eBay, buy them in China. These are a little more expensive. Go to Alibaba, and you get them for pennies. So the Esp8266 had a community 3 years ago. If you wanted to know anything about it, you had to read Chinese. The manual was about that thick, and nobody had translated it. A group called NodeMCU ported all of the code into a command line, which was pretty cool. And then April of last year, the Arduino community ported the Arduino IDE for the Esp8266. This means that anybody can do this now. Any 9-year-old can do this. And there are examples, once you load this up in your Arduino development environment, that tell you how to literally HTTP client, HTTP update, Wi-Fi, there's MDNS, all kinds of really neat stuff, Wi-Fi mesh. These are all examples that out of the box, you plug this little thing in, you get it set up, you modify some code. It's really not hard. I'm not a developer. And they just work. It's really, really cool. So the barrier to entry is now really low. $1.25 for a chip. And it's complete. So this is sort of my imagination of what's happening. IoT is going to explode because everybody can do it. And this chip, in fact, has so many ports on it right now that you don't need anything else on this chip to run, say, an LED light. Actually, I was going to do this last night. I didn't bring my soldering iron with me. I did bring some LEDs, but it would be really easy to take this, and I wrote some code to do it, and actually light LEDs up. I could tell me what the signal strength is. I could have it buzz me if there's an open network. I've got a little thing. Really, really easy to do. I don't need anything else. I don't need any other components. I don't need my computer. I can unplug this, put a battery in, and it's done. Right? I can bury this in a hat. I can put it in a shirt. They're making these wearable electronics. We think of the iPhone or the iWatch, but there are all kinds of cool things that are out there. Out of the box, this thing allows you to join a network, create a network, dual mode. Dual mode. This thing does dual mode. It's a client and an access point at the same time. It's dual mesh mode with auto join. Right? Put this thing out in your house, right? And connect all your sensors together. Arduino sort of automate this. You can power it with a battery. It's got low power mode built in. I don't sell these things, by the way. I mean, nobody can make money on this, but it's got low power mode. You can actually drag it down so that a total draw, if you woke this thing up every hour and did something and maybe send a couple emails out of it, it would last well over a year on a pair of AAA batteries. Pair this with a solar cell and it will last forever. It's just cool stuff, man. So some cool things to do with the Esp8266. I wrote this up, but I really think this is what we should do next year, right? Seriously though, I think there's a lot of really cool things. I think we as professionals in the Wi-Fi market sort of react to the clients. This whole idea of making IoT is something that I think we can participate in. If you have an interest in this, or again, just interested in how things work, it's cool to do. I personally want to build a testing rig, right? I call it the Wi-Fi pizza box, right? Buy 500 of these things, put them in a pizza box, and walk around. I mean, how many clients do you walk with in a typical environment when you test? Imagine 500 in a pizza box, right? Go back to stadiums. Throw one of these on every single stadium seat. Leave one behind. in every room to do a sensed network afterwards. At $1.25, you can't go wrong. You can throw these things away, right? The batteries are more expensive. So they're really pretty cool. Anyway, so things like to think about. How are you going to plan for the growth of IoTs? What tools do you need to manage the growth? Anyway, that's my prezo. I'm 12 seconds. Good. Over.